Take 16. We're back.
This has become an entire process.
Yes, it has. And
I'm completely worn out by watching you try to use that mouse.
if I'd put my glasses on, I might be able to see something, but that's completely different. So how are y'all?
I mean, everything's pretty good, all things considered for me.
How do you know I was talking to you?
Oh. Sorry, I still get used to the fact that there are people that actually listen to this, and it's not just an outlet for us.
And on purpose, from what I understand. So thank you.
For those people's sake, this is Random Ramblings. I'm Josh, that's Kenny.
I'm Kenny, that's Josh.
Oh, God. The 50s called and wants their stick back.
Do this on purpose.
I know you do. And because I watched you struggle with trying to operate our recording software, I wanted to start with a question. It's something that's happened to me, and it's been before now. It's not like it's a recent development, but the question was recently posed to me, and I'm going to pose it to you. Do you by chance remember your first "I'm getting old" moment?
Yes.
What was it? If you don't mind sharing, which
and
we
this
wouldn't
is
do this if you didn't.
This is sad because I have an education that goes along with this, but the first day I had to actually read the instructions to hook up a new piece of equipment to my TV. And I was very frustrated. And the old man moment was not the fact that I couldn't figure it out, because now on the back of the TV there's 5 million different types of connections.
The days of the one coax antenna port are gone.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like video in, video out. Now it's video in, video out, PC in, PC out, HDMI 1, 2, 3, 4, this, that, RCA. I mean, it's like everything but just a regular AC outlet.
There's also that one USB output that's just for maintenance.
Yes.
Who's coming in and doing? I don't know. My TV doesn't get a tune-up.
I did.
Whoever that is, they are slacking.
It was a sound bar, and I don't have a smart TV, so I do the quick setup.
Sure.
Because education in the field, I can do this. I do the quick setup, and I'm back here. I'm just
typical man status trial by fire.
Flashlight and readers, not my normal glasses, looking at all this crap, going, where in the hell? Come to find out, because I don't have a smart TV, I don't have the plug designed for the quick hookup. So now it looks exactly what his problem was. It really looks like C-3PO has been disemboweled behind my TV.
Oh, this is
because I have to have all these extra cords, all because I won't go spend another $800 to get a new TV. And there you go, old man moment. This one's working. I'm not going to buy a new one. I don't know how to put this fucking thing on. Somebody come help me. And I had to read the damn instructions. So there you go, old man moment.
Wow. Mine was nothing that dramatic.
Everything I do is dramatic.
No, well, in the moment it could have been dramatic. But I think the one for me, and I may have had one before, and maybe that was my getting old moment that I don't remember them. But we've had some bad weather here on the East Coast for the last couple of weeks, off and on,
or whatever.
Right. I'm not breaking any news to you there, DOT.
No kidding.
You've been busy the whole time. But I noticed we had some, treacherous is not the word. It's an over-exaggeration or an embellishment, if you will. The roads were not clear. There was stuff on the roads, and I was taking my daughter with me. So I have a four-wheel drive pickup. I had no issue with traction. I was not going to have any issues with traveling to and from where I needed to go. I'm not super confident driving in bad weather, in mainly winter weather.
I wish more people would just go ahead and admit that.
I don't mind admitting it, because it's not my favorite. My dad grew up in the mountains, and he was like, what do you mean you need four-wheel drive? I'm not that kind of hero. Not trying to be that kind of hero. Don't want to be that kind of hero. I want to get to and from where I need to be safely. I'll leave 20 minutes early if I need to give myself a little extra time, extra space, because I say that every time I'm on the radio when there's bad weather. Extra time, extra space is the right answer.
Yes.
And
always.
So not only that, I now have my 10-month-old daughter in the car. So guess who was on level 12 anxiety?
Oh, yeah. The first time you have to take the little one.
Right.
And it's more than rain on the road.
Right.
And let that sucker slide one little bit.
And you let your transmission pull you the rest of the way.
Not only does your heart come up in your throat, but you have to pick it up off the floorboard and put it back.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
been there, done that one.
So while I'm going down this, it's a well-traveled road, but still technically a side road. It had not received the full treatment as of yet because it was morning after, which, again, no harm, no foul. Priorities are a thing. You'll never hear me argue with traffic folks and clearing roadways. And I know a lot of people will bitch. Shut the hell up. Shut up.
Yes, please.
Unless you want to get out there and do the job yourself and think you can do a better job, which I guarantee you cannot. Shut up.
There's a process, and the dead end street you live on doesn't hit top of the line.
So while I'm driving down this road, I'm in a full-size 4-wheel drive pickup. The speed limit normally is 45. I'm cooking off at about 30. That's as comfortable as I feel.
Which is where you should drive.
Right. From behind me, double line by the way, comes a Lexus. Never checks up. Slides right out around me. Not a slide, but comes right out around me. So obviously I have taken this weather way too seriously. Rolls by me.
You have 4-wheel drive. He has traction control. There's a difference to him.
Sure.
Or her, whatever.
So they weave back in front of me, and it was at that moment I'm getting old because I got the bird and I didn't care. I didn't care. If that had happened to me 10 years ago, or maybe even 5 years ago, or even 10 months ago, I'd have sped up and I'd have shoved him off the bridge I know he's going to be on in front of me.
I was fixing to say, but your 4-wheel drive is in your driveway, doesn't have a
Right.
scratch on it. It's
No.
just coated in the salt and brine solution
No,
and sand and everything. Oh, you've already
it's already
been to the
been
car
cleaned.
wash. Good job. So,
I'm
is
more
mine.
worried about
But
the
anyway,
undercarriage, by the way, not the paint.
Myself. But his is probably at a body shop somewhere.
The
from where
front
he
bumper
smacked
was already
it.
missing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like, I know what I'm doing, but I slid into 18 other trees back there, but,
Right.
F you because you're going slow. Yeah,
Right.
I get that.
So he threw the first one up, and then when he wasn't sure I saw it, he threw a second one. And I went, I am not so old that I didn't spot the first one. I'm pretty sure we were close to the same age because I'm pretty sure I've seen him going to work because I drive the same way every day. I'm pretty sure I've seen that guy going to work. I know that car. I've seen that car, and I'm way too observant for my own good, so don't test me on those things because I'll follow you home and not even know I've done it. But it was in that moment, there was a moment, just the tiniest moment when I'm going to kill that guy. He's dead. I'm going to run him. I'm going to pick his Lexus out of the grill of my truck.
When you've got that infant in the back, that's your reaction.
Right. But it was less than a snap. It was less than a snap before I went, fuck you, man. Crash your own car. I don't care.
Yeah, that's you're not gonna have to. You're not gonna have to break a sweat with this because at some point in time, he's gonna end up in the ditch.
Right.
And that's when you, with the 4-wheel drive, that he's gonna expect to stop and help get him out of the ditch, gets
Right.
to drive by doing the one bird salute. Yeah,
Correct.
The one.
I would have rolled the window down and said, hey, I think I'm going to beat you to where you're going.
See, I've been there, done that, and I did get the 4-wheel drive. We used to live further out than we
Sure.
do now, outside of what would be considered a city, and it turned into I had to be at work.
Right.
Period.
I've gone from career
way
to career
too
and
many
that never
times
changes.
going down this one big hill on a major highway headed north, and I know you know the one, and
Yes.
one too many times not completely straight in the lane in a
Yeah.
front wheel drive because they're so great, not really. So I get my 4-wheel drive. Well, then you have to learn how to handle that. That truck I drove for 23 years. It was a manual transmission, manual transfer case or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a stick to go in 4-wheel drive.
Yep.
Manual transmission, manual
Lock the front hubs.
Yeah, manual hub, everything.
Yeah.
I had driven this truck for 23 years. I knew it up one side and down the other. I could take it to my mechanic and go, "Hey, X needs to be fixed," and he'd be like, "How do you know?" It's vibrating.
Right.
And he just looks at me, and it's like, well, once you've driven a car for that long,
You know when something doesn't sound right.
I mean, I could take it to him before it broke down because something didn't sound right, something didn't feel right. So this year, just to get everybody else caught up, that truck was unfortunately viciously murdered in a head-on collision. And
not gonna
it
lie,
was
I'm
not.
so glad that
It was
everybody's
actually
okay, 'cause
one of
that
those.
was a
Yeah, it was
nasty
actually one
incident.
of those few wrecks that I would say I would actually call an accident.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, had to go head to head with another car, but the person had some kind of a medical issue going on. So it happened. My truck protected me, protected people that were on the roadway. You know, our two cars met. There was a lot of people that could have gotten hurt had our two cars missed. So anyway, lost the family truck, and I'm telling you, it was a family truck, but lost the family truck. But anyway, this year, the new truck is what I have to drive in the snow.
Right.
So where you were doing 30, I was doing 20 because I have to learn a whole new truck. It's bigger, it's longer, it's got a more powerful engine in it because it's the one I use to pull my camper.
Right.
It's 4-wheel drive. It's got a completely different suspension. It's automatic, not manual. There was just so much
Right.
to figure out that I was like creeping. And here I am in this big Super Duty truck. And I'm just creeping. And people are passing me in these teeny tiny little cars looking at me like, what is your problem? You should be pulling me down the road. Well, in 23 years, when I've driven this truck long enough to really know it, I'll slingshot you a tow strap and we'll go down the road. But yeah, I get it. And there's so many people that it's like, and I've got family that live in New York. They're listening. I'm going to get 100 freaking phone calls.
Got a
but
buddy
it's
in
okay.
Canada with the same problem.
But, they're like, if you just go ahead and drive the normal speed, well, no. No, because down here we're used to humidity, not snow.
Right.
So y'all might drive the normal speed, but we're not going to.
Yeah. No, I'm
and,
with you.
And I actually disagree with them, but, hey, when you take your driver's test on 12 inches of snow, I guess you got a little bit more confidence than I do anyway.
Right. Well, you've had many, many more opportunities to learn.
Yeah, and they can keep it. Matter of fact, to your buddy in Canada, come get your damn weather. I'm done with it.
Look, he's from North Carolina originally. He married for citizenship. And don't get me wrong.
Talk about getting out of your element.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. Great people. Love his wife. 2 adorable kids. They are some of my favorite people on this planet. I'm not going to visit in any month that isn't below 80 here.
We got in a habit of going to the beach in South Carolina. Right now, everybody knows what beach I go to. We got in a habit of going to Thanksgiving because everybody's got plenty of time off, and it's a small family, so it's a great gathering. You're with your family for the whole weekend. We met an awful lot of people from Canada, and it started with 4 guys walking to the beach with a towel wrapped around their neck and flip-flops and swim trunks on. And I'm looking at you because I just checked the weather, and it's like 40 degrees outside. And you're walking on down there, and I think it's a bead of sweat. Where the hell are you from? Antarctica? Is this what Eskimos look like? I mean, and to them,
their high for the day when they left was -9.
Right. So for them, it's weather to go get in the ocean. For me, it's why did we do this again?
Right. Now, I will say this. I love the beach in the fall.
I prefer to go out of season in either direction, spring and fall.
I think I would. You know what? That would be speaking out of ignorance. I've never done a spring trip. I would probably do fall just because around here weather hasn't set in and there's no chance of it ruining my trip.
We've
there's that.
done a Thanksgiving in which the campers froze over and had icicles hanging off of them.
Right.
And that's a camping story I'll tell one day. Maybe today. We'll see. We've had camping trips to which we were actually in shorts and T-shirts and headed out because it was that time of the year on the South Carolina coast. It's either going to be 30 or it's going to be 65. It's a toss-up. Now, we got married in March, and our trip was to the beach. My parents paid for it. It was a wedding gift, so that's where we went. And we had great weather. Now, believe it or not, we had an ice storm the weekend before we got married. We had great weather the weekend of our wedding. Then there was a blizzard the weekend after. Yes, we lucked up for all of you perverts out there. But anyway, don't look at me like that. You knew I was going to go there. We were stuck at home. We couldn't get out of the driveway. No power. Nothing else better to do. So now that I've spelled it out for everybody.
Yep.
But anyway, he's rolling his eyes like, why did I have to think about that? Newlyweds, blizzard, good, go for it. But where was I going? Oh, we had a great weekend at the beach, like 65, and then we come home to a blizzard, and so now we're getting back into the habit of going in March.
Right.
And last year we went, caught an amazing car show, but we had like gale force winds coming off the coast, so the 50-degree weather felt like 30-degree weather. But the one day that we were going to go to the car show, great weather, a small breeze, not a huge wind. The sun was beating down on you, and life was good. That's one thing about the southern portion of the state is that the weather is going to be, in some cases, topsy-turvy, and, we like to make jokes about Mother Nature being bipolar.
Right.
But you can catch great days. Like, extended forecasts I'm looking at, into February, we're talking about 50s, 60s.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 60 here next week.
Yeah, we're starting to get into that.
And we got snow last night.
Right, exactly. And this is going to air probably in April. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I know better than that, but got to throw a joke in there somewhere since I went down that other rabbit hole.
Sure.
But anyway, yeah, and fall, we've started doing October trips.
That's my preferred. Because everybody's back in school.
Yeah, we're actually enjoying it though, because you get these cooler nights.
Yep.
So huddling over the fire to do whatever,
Right.
Or just to huddle over the fire, and then you get days that it's like, hey, let's go out and listen and watch the ocean.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily want to go get in the ocean, but most of the places where we stay have a heated pool if you really want to go swimming. But it's just a great time. I like the offbeat times for stuff like that. In the in-season stuff, I want to be somewhere in the mountains where it's already 10 degrees cooler.
Right. So that's one of the things for us. My wife's grandmother had a mountain home, and that was my summer choice. If we were going somewhere for the summer, my wife's like, well, you want to go to the beach? Nope. Not at all. Because I'm a big guy, and at some point, when I take off layers to try to cool off, I'm going to jail.
Yes,
and
exactly.
so I would rather go to the mountains, and
it is.
There are no bugs at that altitude. It's cooler. There's always a breeze. And it's not the humid breeze you get at the beach. It's a drier breeze. So again, you're not sweating as much. It's just, and everybody else has gone to the beach. So there's nobody in the mountains.
It has taken my wife almost the entire 30 years to get me to really enjoy the beach. But I don't like getting in the water. I'll go get in the pool. I like to see the bottom of the bodies of water that I'm swimming in. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say it. I'm scared something's going to eat me. That's not really why I don't get in the ocean. But, I have a very bad reaction to jellyfish when I was younger. So, no.
There's something to
anaphylaxis
that.
is anaphylaxis, and if I can't see it swimming toward me, I can't get out of the way.
Right.
So I'll go up to about mid-calf, and then I'm back on the sand. But I don't want to be out there we make glass out of sand.
There is
and
that.
I don't want to be out there because it's like, okay, it's 100 degrees, but it feels like it's 175.
Right.
When you're sitting on the sand, so I don't care for all of that. When it's 100 degrees outside, I want to be at the lake with the camper buried in some trees.
See, I don't like lakes.
I didn't say in the lake, at the lake.
No, I'm just saying I don't getting in. If I were ranking my bodies of water in which to get into, pool, ocean, lake, lakes, rivers are in the same boat. I would do streams before the other because most of the time I can see the bottom.
I have blindly jumped into more lakes.
No.
And I even know what kind of critters live in those. And then, of course, out, riding boats and goofing off with inner tubes and stuff.
I'm okay.
I have waded into the river. I flipped a canoe on a river once. That was fun. But, I have waded into a river just to cool off. But a lot of times, as much as I enjoy swimming, I save that for a pool.
I'm with you. I would rather do the pool, and it's not so much that I can see; it's that I know what's down there. It's concrete.
Yeah.
At least in the ocean, it's sand, especially where we're going to go in the more touristy areas.
Sand and whatever's crawling around down there that's looking for the.
I wear ocean shoes for the record, so I would still take damage, but not the same direct damage as stepping on coral or whatever.
But now, my fun at the beach is I like to hear it, see it. But I will go if we're there in the summer. I'm going to go early in the morning.
Yeah,
and I'm going to go later in the evening, and that's actually kind of nice because everybody's not awake yet. What I consider early in the morning, because a lot of times I'm catching some phenomenal sunrise shots.
Absolutely.
And then at supper time, at least at the campground, everybody's kind of come back in to cook supper and get everything ready. So you kind of get a little bit more privacy on the beach. But I want to go out, and I want to go out when I can take the dog, and we're going to go for a long walk. I mean, we'll stroll a couple of miles. I don't want to go out there and just sit. And everybody's like, well, take a book. No. Take an umbrella. No.
I hate
Now, I'm not
that
going to
concept.
move onto the beach just to sit on the beach all day long. I've got a camper with air conditioning and a TV.
I don't understand the draw. I could get away in a lot more comfortable places.
I've got friends, that's what they're going to do.
Oh, I do
get
too.
Up, they're going to have breakfast, and they're going to haul 4 tons of stuff out. They have the wagon and everything. Oh. They're going to sit there, and they're going to enjoy the beach all day long. And they keep trying, we don't just lay in the sun. We read books. We have a little radio. We have drinks. We have snacks. We play this. We play Frisbees and ball. And I'm sitting over here going, I'm on vacation. That sounds like work.
There are certain things that I would be okay with for a while, and that's fine and whatever. And I don't do well with traction in sand. And I realize there's no better exercise than working out in the sand.
Walking on loose sand is a pain in the ass.
Right. If I'm anywhere, I'm on the hard pack.
Yeah.
I want to be in the hard pack where it's
now.
I might get water on my feet.
I'm also the creepy old guy that's standing there because I saw the dude's fishing pole bend. And I now see the dude because they're fishing in the surf.
Now it's a challenge.
I'm with him. I'm your audience. I'm going to stand there
I'm invested.
and see. I want to see what you get because that thing took a nosedive. I want to see what you're reeling in, and I'm going to stand there and stare at you until I get to see that fish. And that's a lot of fun.
No,
but I guess everybody has something different that they get out of it, and that in the flea market. Love the flea market.
The spectacle that comes along with that, I'm here for. Sitting there watching the ocean, that's fun for a while, but I can do that from the balcony where at any moment I can step inside and look at it through an air-conditioned window.
I don't have a balcony.
Well, I don't have a camper.
We'll fix you one day.
Yeah, I know. But that's the ambiance and having the beach as a backdrop, that's great.
Well, see, that's...
but the beach itself, fun one day, and then the rest of the time I'm like, so what else we gonna do?
Yeah, that's one thing that a lot of people think that I miss being in the camper because I'm not up to have that consistent view. There are breaks in the dunes. Now, I have been fortunate enough a couple of times that my camper's sitting where I can just look straight on down that little road, and there it is. But here's the thing. I don't camp straight up on top of the dunes. I never get the front row or what they call beachfront. You never really get to see anything but the dunes, but I never get beachfront because you get the sound block. If you go back in the campground,
you get everything.
You still get the noise, so that I can have my radio on. I can sit under my awning in my shade. Yes, I have a fan that blows on me, and I can enjoy my adult beverage at a weird time of the day, like 8 in the morning, and hear the beach
vacation.
And all of that. And there's not as much background noise from a crowded campground as you would think.
No. I don't think that. I would assume if
I
were
playing and right. Stuff like that, but what I don't get is the stomping from the kids in the condo above me, or the people in the condo next door that's been there for 7 days and they've had enough of each other. I don't get all of that because people are less likely to have that argument
Absolutely.
in a campground because you can end up with an audience real quick.
Yes, there is a different dynamic to campers. I feel like there's also a community there because in the hotel you're like, I'm gonna have to wait on this damn elevator with all these idiots that all have the same wagon and toys and noodles and towels and umbrellas.
Yeah, there are things that sit outside of my camper that if I were to tally up the cost, I'd probably wonder how I bought it all. But I leave and they're left out all day, all night. I take off and go to the flea market, 4 hours, whatever. We spent 3 hours at that car show. We have yet to come back to anything missing. We're always greeted. We always end up meeting the people on either side of us and back in front. And we wave, we get to see and pet other people's dogs. I mean, it's unreal. I was at the lake one time and actually met somebody that worked my accident. He was camping behind me. We backed in, and his wife started the conversation by complimenting our camper. Well, then we got to talking while I was setting things up. Then, of course, I forget stuff. But anyway, we ended up, and we had friends camping above them, so we walked past each other a lot. And they were getting ready to leave. They brought some homegrown tomatoes to us because they didn't want to take them home. They didn't want them to go to waste. And we just struck up a conversation. Come to find out, he was a local fireman, and he actually worked my accident. And it is weird. I have gone to the beach and met people that live here in our city, or our area, rather. But I don't think I would have done that in a condo or a hotel.
Oh, no. You
Because
look for
every
seclusion.
every time I've been in a condo or a hotel, people don't even look you in the face. At a campground, it's like, morning. Hey, sorry, first sip. I didn't think I was going to have to speak.
Right.
And that's just the way it goes. I mean, people just wave. Life is good. I mean, we've actually, everybody puts out stuff, and we've actually seen something blow away. We go get it, put a weight on it. I mean, we're over in front of these people's camper, putting back what blew away, and we're finding something to put a weight on it. And they come in, don't even think twice about it. I mean, and you can hear them later on because you're doing something else. Ooh, this must have blew away. Somebody brought it back. Well, yeah, but you don't rush over there to get your accolades.
Right.
And it's great. And I've met so many interesting people, retired engineers the people behind us in October, they were gonna be there for 3 months. That was their whole reason. They bought that particular unit and stored it there so they didn't have to drive their other camper 12 hours. I looked at my wife and I'm like, that's not happening. I'm not going to the beach for 3 months. You might think it's a great thought, but no, it's not going to happen.
No,
And then, of course, you learn different things. It's where I'll pick up a lot of my hacks for my camper, is talking to other people.
Well, again, I feel like you're, in some way, shape, or form, that's a circle that you know and you can talk shop with. Like, if we were staying in a hotel while you guys were at a campground, if we were to come visit, I guarantee you we would get looks like, who are they?
Yeah.
Where's theirs?
You'd be surprised.
I mean, I feel like but like you guys could talk about, campers and slides and wings and all the stuff that comes out, and I would just be like, oh, that's interesting. And they're going to go, hoteler, fucking loser.
See,
and it would never come off that way, but the air that would be carried is,
you would be
out of water.
You'd be like the fifth wheel,
right,
and not the fifth wheel camper. Because you'd be there, you'd
right,
be in the
and that's the
conversation,
joke.
But you'd feel outside the conversation,
right? And that's I feel like that's a
I
very
get
common
that.
thing when you are in an element. I've been in conversations, or I've been in situations where I know no one.
Well, it's a community.
Right.
My first camper, my first trip, we went with my sister and my brother-in-law. And, of course, so we're together. They're helping us. All the stuff we forgot, they had.
Right.
We learned real quick. Make a list.
Yes.
And then, of course, now, and every time I go camping, still 10 years later, almost 11 years later, every time I go camping, I have a list of stuff I need, or a list of stuff that broke and I need to replace. I mean, there's a constant revolving. Me and Amazon are close friends. There's a constant revolving thing going on there, and there's things that I just call wear items. And I'm at the point where I had like 3 water hoses. I'm down to 1 on my list. Got to get another one because you never know when you're going to be too far away from the thing. But it is a whole community, because my first trip by myself, just us, we had a little time. There's a learning curve on backing one of these things up. And we had a little bit of a time. Well, we had some guys across the way playing cornhole and realized that I was kind of struggling. Well, kind of nothing. I was on the struggle bus.
Right.
And they kind of helped me out and helped me get in there. And then you spend the weekend, now you have new friends. We played cornhole with them and everything.
Right.
I mean, we had a great time. But you're not going to get that. You're not going to be struggling to get that last suitcase around your neck before you hit the elevator.
Right.
So nobody's going to walk by and go, can I help you with that? They're just going to walk by and go, huh.
Man, that must suck. I'm not looking forward to that on
Yeah,
Saturday
and I mean,
when we
and then
leave.
you're in that elevator. You always hear somebody in the elevator go, really? 3rd floor? Well, yeah, sorry you booked the 6th, and you're going to have to wait for me to get the fuck off. So,
right.
But I don't know. It was just a completely different thing. When we bought it, the first one we bought, it was inexpensive. It was very small, and it was a case of, let's give this a shot.
Right.
And you think, okay, we're spending a lot of money on this, and we're just giving it a shot. Well, we'd both been tent camping. She had been camping in other units. My daughter had been camping with her friends in other units. We all knew that we would kind of enjoy.
Right.
But we never knew that it was going to be the main thing we vacationed in. We actually was looking at this as a way to have a place at the lake.
Right.
You know, maybe not the same lake, but without spending, $500,000, we could go to this lake, that lake, little short trips. We never
Right.
really knew. And we've taken that thing 6 hours away is the furthest at this point. And we've had, there's some doozies of some stories. Actually, I'll go through one. It's one of my favorites.
Okay.
All right, and this was with my previous camper, 36-foot, what they call tag along. It hooks on the hitch just like your lawnmower trailer. All right, I'll give you updates as we go. I'm not going to explain everything, but we're heading to a lake. We're talking about 2 hours away. Got a friend for the kid. We're going right after work. It's only about a 2-hour drive. We head out with good old Google Maps to be typed it in. We're going. We get there. We did not realize that this particular state park had 5 campgrounds, all in different locations, and the address that we typed in was the main office. We are at a boat ramp. Looks like you should be putting a ferry in. And it's at this point, I'm sitting here with 36 feet of house behind me, going, uh-oh.
Right.
So I turned and looked at my wife, and I went, we've made a mistake. So she's scrambling. We were meeting family. We call them. Cell phone signal's sketchy. And they're like, well, we came in from X interstate. Crap. I didn't use the interstate. That particular interstate comes nowhere near my house. Why would I use that? It would have taken me 5 hours to get there. Not really. But, okay.
Right.
So I'm doubling back, and I'm like, let me find that interstate. What highway did you get off on? Well, this one. All right, I'm on that highway. Let me find that interstate. I'll go past that interstate. I'll turn around. And 5 U-turns. By the 5th U-turn, I realized you could squall tires, and you could lean that camper pretty freaking hard because I was getting pissed.
Right.
And I actually told my wife and everybody in the car, this is the last attempt because I know how to fuck to get home. And, of course, my wife has to go, are you sure?
Oh,
not really.
Oh.
At this point, I've got a house behind me. We're going to park at that gas station.
And live.
We're never going anywhere else again. We get there. That 2-hour drive turned into 4.
Oh, no.
We get there. I'm tired. I'm ill. Actually, the word is pissed off.
It's 2 words.
Everybody in the car, whatever.
It's 2 words.
Now I'm ill again. Everybody in the car
that's what I'm here for.
is upset, tired, and tired of me because I have invented words. I can do some like triple word compounds when I want to,
you're
but
fine.
yeah, I've invented words. I'm
Wordsmith.
screaming. Even the dog's like laid down and got his tail tucked. Like, can we just leave? So we get there. We get in that. Most of these campgrounds, the roads are just wide enough for your truck and camper. So we're talking about 8-9 feet. So, but a lot of them have what you would consider a shoulder. So another lane, but it's to the side where the majority of the campsites are. Well, basically to your right, like a shoulder. Have to have it because, some of these roads you have to pass other campers.
Sure.
Some of them are one way only. Get to my site, nice angle on my site, 2 cars sitting in the shoulder from the corner of my site to the corner of the site in front of me. Over to my left is a nice ditch, trash cans on a cement-mounted pole, someone else who's got just enough space for their unit and their vehicle, and I've got an SUV that's 18 feet long and a camper that from tongue to bumper is 36 and a half feet.
Yeah, that's going to be a tight fit.
Okay, so for those of you that's never backed anything up like this,
That's me, for the record.
the truck has to go in one direction to
Camper
push the
goes in the
camper
other.
in the other direction. So now you're talking about not even bending in the middle. You're bending a little off of the middle because one is bigger than the other. So I almost dropped a rear tire of my SUV into this ditch. I almost wiped out this trash can stand. At this point, and I will not repeat that line of words, at this point, I'm screaming obscenities. The family we're meeting has come up and comes to the window and goes, "You're almost in the ditch." I did manage to hold it. I just gave that person a look.
I'm irked for you at this point.
Yeah. So
I have anxiety listening to this story.
everybody dives out of the truck except for my daughter's friend.
Trooper.
That poor thing did not realize that when I let out that line of words, that was get out. And I mean, not me telling them to get out, but that was like abandoned ship. That is that that you hear right before abandoned ship. And so the family is like, you're not going to get in there. And I'm like, I'm
Crack
here.
Knuckles challenge accepted.
I am starving. This camper's either getting in that site or I am running my drop cord over there and I'm sitting right here in the middle of the road. Nobody's leaving until I'm done with my trip. So about that time, here comes 6 guys from our local fire department, believe it or not. And they come up and they're like, tight fit, don't worry about it. We got you. Go around the circle, come back. I want you to take the dust off this guy's cars. Well, I get back and I see somebody running. And I'm like, oh God, what have I done now? And you got to remember, I've got this friend still in the car.
Right.
So I come through, and as I'm coming through, one of these firemen pushed my mirrors up on that side, and he goes, get close. We can't find him. Okay. So I'm swearing.
Can't find him?
Can't find the guy that owns the camper that's sitting in front of. Remember, these 2 cars are parked on the shoulder. I have to go past my site to back into my
Correct.
site.
All right, so they're
I now
taking
have
away
the-
your
That's what they're
radius.
wanting me to take the dirt off of. Is they want me to get so close to his car that I'm risking damaging mine. Note how I said that because I didn't care about his. So they weasel, and this is what happened. 6 firemen hollered back and forth to each other from different points on my camper and at that campsite. They hollered to my family, my uncle, who's standing at my window. Now, whatever they hollered was translated to turn your wheel right, turn your wheel left, slow down, wait, pull forward. He was translating. You would have thought it was 8 computers conversing with each other. These guys are on the same company.
So there's already a chemistry and a
yeah,
balance.
they already know what they need to do.
Godsend.
No kidding. I almost cooked steaks for everybody.
I don't blame you one bit.
I did offer everybody a beer, by the way.
Well,
I
naturally.
offered to go buy everybody a case, but they did their thing back and forth, and their language is, it's English. They're not talking code, but they know what they're telling each other in like a 2-word sentence. And then you had the one that knew what to tell my uncle. And
Right.
so, and I wasn't paying attention to anybody but my uncle. We weasel this thing in there. We get it there. We get it parked. One of the guys comes up, and this is at the point where I'm like, I've got cold beer, guys. Oh, no, we've helped everybody back in. Seriously, I've got cold beer, guys. No, you're fine. By the way, when your tires looks a little low, you're going to be unlevel to the front side, but you got plenty of room to fix that. And by fix that, I mean pull forward, go up on a board, for those of you who don't camp. So we're setting everything up. Now, at this point, setup is get it level, get it off the truck, get it plugged in. It's called a shoreline to the utilities. Get the water plugged in. This site, no sewer on site. That's a story for another day.
That's a hit it as you leave.
Yeah, that's a hit it as you
Right.
leave thing because you have onboard storage tanks.
Yes. We have talked about that.
Yeah, we have talked about that. But, so here I am. We got everything level. The shoreline's hooked up. The water's hooked up. I'm putting the stabilizer jacks down. From this point, we will call them stab jacks. Now, I use a battery-operated drill for that because that's a lot of hand cranking when it's 90 degrees outside.
Absolutely.
And I hear somebody walking through the woods.
Oh, it's the
Now,
it's the
granted,
other guy.
granted, I've said every word in the book. Pretty certain I've offended my daughter's friend from the word go. She looked more pale than normal, but anyway, she's gonna listen to this and call me. But this guy comes up through my campsite. By the way, that is poor camp etiquette. Once the site is occupied, you don't set foot in it without permission. I mean, that's like my piece of property.
Right.
That is a keep off my grass kind of moment.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy comes walking up. Well, I see you got it in here. I was kind of wondering if my car's sitting right there, if you'd be able to do that.
I'd have decked
And
his
I turned
ass.
and I looked at
I'd
him.
have decked him right then.
Talk about your moment earlier with
Yeah.
the Lexus. I turned and I looked at this guy and I went, excuse me? He goes, yeah, I could see the lights on your camper from down there where we were. He goes, I was wondering if you'd be able to get it in here. And I looked at him, I said, okay, 1, get off my campsite. 2, we barely got it in here. You're fucktard. Go away. You should have come and moved your cars. I went to stand up. That fella took off at a trot. I was that mad that I did not care anymore. I went after him. Well, I didn't run after him, but I, verbally going to let this guy have it. By the way, he didn't walk on my campsite ever again.
No.
So we get done, and we had this whole hot dogs, and, we're going to eat. I had a nice view of the lake. We're going to eat by the lake, have our hot dogs and everything. I'm so tired now, it's like, just roll the cheese up in the bologna and hand it to me.
Right.
I want a beer, and I want to go to bed. Mm-hmm. So, and I've got to tell the whole story. Aunt and Uncle walk over. You all right? You got everything together? Yeah, I'm done now. Who's that guy that walked over? And I just pointed. And my uncle's like, I'm going to have a word with him. And my wife goes, too late. You might want to stay here. And I'm just standing there looking at everybody like I'm justified.
Right.
It's like, it was mine to do.
This shake wasn't here until I got
So
here.
I get this. You want to hear something funny? Why not? We've already had to lard up the sides of my camper and get 18 people to, wiggle me into this site that I'm never going to come back to again. What's so funny? My aunt goes, I was helping set the camper up. She goes, and I plugged the water into the city water connection. Now, that means directly from the water faucet into the lines of the camper, because there's also onboard freshwater tanks. And it's actually called a city water connection. And I just looked at her, and in an instant, I remembered that just above her city water connection is what's called a black tank rinse.
Oh, no.
It rinses the poop tank after you've drained it. She told me, she goes, so I did that just helping out doing my thing. She goes, and we were sitting in there waiting for y'all to get here, and I realized I could hear water running. She goes, and I was pretty certain we done blew a line. She goes, and here we are camping. She goes, come to find out, and I said, you did. She goes, yep, I filled up my black tank with fresh water. I looked at her, I said, did you put the cleaning chemicals in it? She goes, yeah. I said, huh. And lost it, laughing.
Yeah.
And she goes, I've got to go to the bath. Yep, you got to go to the bathhouse all weekend long unless you want to hitch to your camper, go to that dump station, and then come back. And I'm eating my bologna tube, my bologna roll, little cheese burrito or whatever. And I mean, I'm just like chugging a beer. And so we had a good laugh about all of that. And she's like, well, I know y'all are tired and exhausted. And I looked at her, I said, I'm sure you're tired of my mouth. And she laughed. She goes, let's just plan a better meal for tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm going to finish this one and I'm going to bed. Get up the next morning, beautiful morning. And by now, everything's done. Everything's washed away. I'm camping. We're here. We're set up. It's going to be a great joke to tell everybody later.
Right.
And I'm sitting there, I'm having my coffee. The aunt and the uncle walk over. My wife comes out. We're all sitting there having coffee, planning our hot dogs for lunch. And this particular camper, I had a door to the outside from the bathroom. That door swings open, and my daughter shouts out, "Black tank's full," and slams the door shut, opens it back up. She goes, "Yeah, black tank's full." And I just looked at her, and in a fit of what could happen next, I did not take a 30-gallon shit this morning. And I know the whole campground heard it because there were people laughing other than us.
Yes.
What had happened there?
Your aunt had done the exact same thing.
No, what had happened there was that camper, there was a bend in the pipe, went straight into the tank from the toilet thing. These toilets are gravity-fed, people. No, tank of water to flush it like in your house. So you sit on a foot pedal, you get some water, things just kind of drain out.
Oh, okay.
So to flush your solids, you have you depress a little bit, you fill up the bowl, then you have hydraulics pushing the solids down. This one had a bend in it, and apparently there was a little bit of a clog the last time we took the camper out, and we didn't know.
Right.
So I had to figure out how to take care of this. Fire pokers are awesome. And you could hear this rock solid piece of whatever hit that tank. Now, we're talking 30 gallons of black tank.
That's been sitting there,
And this has
since
been
last
sitting.
time.
This has been sitting, clogging up since last time. Last time was like, I don't know, October.
Oh God!
This
it
is
a
like
brick.
June or something like that. That's what I was thinking. When I figured out what was wrong, I went and got some really hot water out of the sink, and I poured it down there. And I watched what my daughter saw. It kind of bubbled up and then went down. I went, uh-oh. I've got a clog. And I don't have a snake on the camper. This is not my house. This is just my vacation house. Don't have a basement underneath it, just a couple little storage compartments.
Right.
So the only thing I had that I knew would reach the bend of this was the fire poker. And I'm like, okay, this has got to be a wadded up mess of, use your imagination. The fire poker should be able to break that up. Hot water will take care of it. We went to boiling water on the stove. And the biggest pot we had. It worked. And I mean, yeah, we heard it. Plunk. And I'm like, great. I'm 10 gallons shy now. I only have a 20-gallon tank where I had a 30-gallon tank. I handed the poker out to my uncle. He's outside the door making sure that I'm getting this done. I just handed the poker out there so I could take the hot water. And he's like, what the fuck you want me to do with that? First time I've ever heard him say that word. And I went, oh, sorry. I just handing people stuff while I'm working. We get that taken care of, and I just took this deep breath, and I'm like, what's next? This is going to have to be the best trip on the planet because we've already had every hiccup we need to have for the year. Turned out to be a great trip. At lunch, we're finally having our hot dogs from the night before. We're having a nice big laugh about everything that's happened to this point, and we hear this airplane. And my wife goes, hey, that's an airplane. Thank you, Tattoo. And if you don't get the reference, look it up. Josh got the reference.
Oh, I did.
So, and the plane's getting louder and louder and louder. And my wife goes, is it going to land? And I went, yeah, probably. She goes, how? And I went, boat plane. And she just looked at me. Whole table blew out laughing. I mean, we're blowing drinks out of our nose at this point, laughing. Believe it or not, just like the one from that show, the one with the V-hole bottom, comes down, does a touch and go. So for me, air and space, it's like
justified.
The trip is now worth it. Everything that all the frustration to this point just washed away. That was awesome. Got to see somebody being trained how to get the boat plane in the water and out of the water. It's awesome. 15 minutes later, my daughter's like, "What's that? What's what?" She points, and there's this Carolina blue houseboat coming toward us. And I looked at her and I said, it's apparently a Tar Heel fan that owns a houseboat. And she goes, nah, that's an ice cream boat. I'm like, no, I've never seen an ice cream boat. She takes off, comes back with the binoculars. Lo and behold,
ice cream boat.
Yes! To which we're now waist deep in the lake, waving like, help us. I mean, it's like Gilligan's Island now. We've done been through all this stupid shit, figured out our way around it. And now we're going to have an ice cream boat and be rescued. We bought ice cream that we didn't want, didn't need. It was a great time. Unfortunately, they went out of business before we got back to that lake. But it turned now that's a how the hell did this happen? And yes, they made a movie with these kinds of incidents in it. All the way up to we had a great time camping. By the way, that movie's titled RV. You should watch it, even if you don't camp. Everything that was experienced. I can't really say it like that because there were some things that I'm sure have not happened, but just about everything that they experienced has happened in a much smaller proportion. This is just some of it, dude. The stories go on. I've got 10 years worth of stories, and there's always one trip that is filled with crap like this.
The anxiety for me, the issue, I could have handled everything else except the parking. I feel like I would have an absolute blast camping if somebody would just park it for me.
There is a such thing as a pull-through site.
See, didn't know that.
Yes, there is a such thing as a pull-through site where you just start at one end and go in, and then you just pull out the other side. We've done a whole lot more of those since the fifth wheel because there's a complete difference in backing up the tag-along and the fifth wheel. And that's a rabbit hole I'm not going to go down. I'll save that story for another time. But there's a difference between the two designs.
Oh, of course.
So we've done a lot more pull-throughs.
Right.
And we do pull-throughs at the beach, which are great. because we can go the night before.
Oh, sure.
So now what happens is if we want to be at the beach Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll go on Wednesday night because we can pull through. There's not as much not as much that you
Gotta
have
be able
to
to see.
And most of what you have to see, you can use flashlights and headlights.
Right.
So we do that a lot so that we can wake up at the beach instead of wake up and go to the beach. And we
Right.
do that with a lot of the campgrounds we go to at the lake, they're only an hour away. So we'll leave after work. And we get that extra night, even though we'd have to take that extra day of vacation.
Sure.
And and a lot of times we'll get the same site every time. So we already know how to get in there.
You know what the
You know,
layout's going to be.
it's like backing into your driveway. You know where you're going.
Right.
But when it's a new campground, we know we want to go up the night before. We're not real sure if we're going to have daylight enough. We'll get the pull through.
Sure. See, that's the biggest gripe in that entire story for me would be having to park it. I struggle with the trailer concept. I have a little garden trailer that I pull behind my lawnmower for hauling off debris. I pull by it, unhook it, back it where it needs to go, and then knock everything loose. I cannot, for the life of me, figure out this whole backing up thing. And I
single axle stuff does not behave. I've got a 5x8 utility trailer. I could not back that anywhere. But we went on one trip with the fifth wheel last year, and because of the size trucks and the different situations I get in at work, I have way more practice now.
Of course.
But we pulled into one campground. I had a very good line of sight with just my side mirrors because I don't have the backup camera. They make backup cameras for them too, by the way. I was able to just back straight in, and it kind of amazed my wife. She's like, you don't need me. And I'm like, I've got good line of sight for this one. But the difference between a single axle, like what you're talking about, and a tandem is unreal. The tandem behaves way better. Anything with a single axle, once it starts to go left, it's going to go left.
Unless
Doesn't
you
matter
stop
what
and
you're
pull
doing.
forward.
Yeah,
Right.
and I've had a time with my utility trailer, but I'm not going to say I can put this camper anywhere because you just heard the story. But I do pretty good at getting it where I want it to go, and it worked. I mean, I had to back a trailer underneath a shed, and I had to do it from a dogleg position. I'm capable of doing it. I'm capable of doing it by myself, and I'm never ashamed of how many pull-ups I have to take because sometimes you just got to straighten everything out.
Yeah.
But once you learn, and there's a trick, but once you learn the trick of how to get that trailer to go where you want it to go, and you can do it without turning your head, you got it. And you're never going to get that on a lawnmower. To get my commercial driver's license, I had to parallel park a dump truck with a trailer. The trailer was, I think, 20 feet long. It was a trailer designed to haul a backhoe. And I had to parallel park that. And yes, I asked the examiner, why on earth are you making sure I can parallel park all of this? Who in the hell goes down the road with a backhoe and a dump truck and goes, hey, there's a spot. I'll just whip right in here.
Right. Most of the time, if you're pulling that, it's prepared for you.
At that point, it's like cut on the strobe lights and the hazard lights, and everybody's just going to have to go around me.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, had to parallel park all of that. So I've actually had some training.
Well, yeah, of course. And I understand that. And that's, for me, that would be, if there were a draw for me to go with full-on motor coach, it's that. Because it's one vehicle, one piece, one angle.
It's now when I should tell him that you're going to be towing a car to drive around on.
No, my wife would follow.
Okay, that's right, because you'd want to be by yourself listening to your audio
absolutely,
book anyway.
Absolutely.
So now everybody has to drive a car.
Exactly. No, but
you-
she would have the baby with her. And
You are correct. For someone that has not had any experience, that would be like your Hail Mary. That'd be okay. This is it because I don't have to learn to back up.
Right. If I were going all out, I would probably go motor coach for that exact. The other side of the whole motor coach thing, you're right. I've got to tow a vehicle to get me where I need to go. I still believe that's a hell of a lot quicker to unhook it. Especially because we had neighbors that lived across the street that had one. They had a little SUV that they pretty much drove just for that, and it was front mounted.
Yeah.
So you drop drop it on the hitch ball, and you're gone. Bye. Put it in neutral. Bye. See you later. Well, there is a simple fix for that too. Wife, get out, unhook, move it. Done.
And you're absolutely correct.
That's
Every motor
for me.
coach I've ever watched come in, they find their site and they stop and they
unhook
get out,
everything.
and the next thing you know, the car they're towing behind them disappears. Sometimes it just goes around the block, comes back. Sometimes it comes back an hour later. It's almost like somebody went out for groceries and came back.
Right.
But that's exactly what most of them do. They get to their site or they get close to their site, and it's okay. Let's unhitch the tow. Let's unhitch what we're towing, so that they can go ahead and get in their site. Now, and I have not been in my brother-in-law's truck while he's backed his rig up. He's got 42 feet of fifth wheel. I've only got 34 feet of fifth wheel. So, and they go for longer trips.
Oh, sure.
So, they have a little bit more space for that. But he got the backup camera for his camper, and it Bluetooths to a screen that's, I guess hanging off the vent like my little air freshener. And he watches that, and what he says is it's no different than driving a car with a backup camera. He looks down at that, and he puts his camper right where he needs it to be. I have not, in the past few years, they've had that for 3 or 4 years now, and in those years when we've gone camping with them, and I've been there first, I've not seen my sister get out until he's parked.
Till he's done.
And then they both get out, walk around, make sure they're happy where they put it. And then he's got all the other stuff. He gets it off the truck, pushes a button, it levels itself. They go on about camping.
Right.
I still have to do the carpenter's level, get on a board. But there's some stuff I didn't want to pay for.
Sure. And that...
You can go over the top with this stuff, folks. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. You can go over the top with this stuff. He's got a gizmo. It's like a little iPad where he's walking around watching everything do what he wants it to do. And see, I look at that stuff and they go, oh, it's only $15,000 more. And I think, yeah, and it'll break.
And...
So
it'll break while you're there and you're paying extra.
At that point, I don't want it.
But I got to believe there's manual overrides for all that. You just got to open the right panel that's hidden, and then you got to do it yourself anyway.
There are. He would probably...
That would be the draw for me.
He would probably be about an hour retracting all of that.
Right.
The manual overrides for my slide room motors are not accessible, actually. Where they put the motors. The motor is in the wall for this particular camper. And there's actually no manual override for that. I would actually have to call a remote repair service or slowly, steadily drag it to wherever, because most campgrounds have a storage lot, and have it taken care of that way, because you can't take them on the highway opened up.
No, of course not.
But it's an unfortunate thing, and I didn't think of it, but I love my floor plan, that even if they had told me, hey, you can't get to that, I probably would have bought it anyway.
Right.
Now, haven't been through the owner's manual, and believe it or not, you're not going to go look that up in the owner's manual until you need it.
Right.
So there, I may be overlooking something. I know where the motors are. And for the larger slides, there's 2 motors each. But there's probably something somewhere, some little something I can click, flip, switch,
there's got to be a
twist,
release.
to where I can just like
not a
push
release.
the things in and be done. But like I said, I haven't gone that far in the.
Well, you haven't
I'm one of
needed
these
to.
people that, I mean, I know it'll break down, but I always test my stuff at home. And no, that does not save me from a breakdown on the road. But I always test my stuff at home.
Well, if you have a glaring issue, it's like, well, we'll just
Right.
cancel, get it fixed, and we'll go in a couple
Right. Now,
weeks.
you watch, before my first trip this year, I'll know how to do the override.
Right. Now that the seed has been planted, you're going to go, I know there's a damn way
I
to
did
do
have
it.
a plan.
I refuse to let Josh know more about my camper than me.
I did have a flip. I had a trip planned that I went to get the camper ready, and one of the slides wouldn't go out. And I freaked because I really wanted to go on this trip. I was going to see my daughter. I really wanted to go on the trip. Started calling all the repair shops that I use. Yes, I have multiple. And nobody had space to get it in. And it's like,
That's not good.
Holy cow. This has got to... So I kept going and going. These are a lot like houses. I kept going and going, and I started tracing stuff. I found a loose wire. And it was underneath... The connection was underneath the camper where I could get to it. I looked up at it, and I'm like, that looks suspect. Touched the wire, came completely out of the connector, and I'm like, okay, I know my problem now.
Right.
So I was able to get that fixed and get it fixed myself, which was, it's great when you're about ready to go on the trip. But that's how I found the motors. and still did not look to see what the manual override was, because I'm not going to go on the trip having to push my slide room out.
Right.
I wasn't going to do that unless my next stop was going to be call up there to a camper,
Hey, we're
camper
coming.
repair
Can
shop.
you put us in?
Hey, yeah, we're coming up. We can come up a little earlier. Can you fit me in to get this repaired? because that was going to be my next move.
Sure.
But, luckily that one I figured out. These things a lot of these things that you ask if it breaks are a whole lot more durable than what a lot of people want to give them credit for. My brother-in-law's auto leveling system is hydraulic. And everything's under the camper.
Sure.
So, yeah, there's going to be overrides. But it's also a case of there's a few working parts. So you're going to, if all of a sudden your camper goes unlevel and you're looking and there's a puddle of fluid underneath it, you've lost a line. And more than likely almost any hydraulic place can repair that.
Right.
Because again, hydraulic system, it's all pretty standard. But
yeah, well, I mean, once they know the pressure of the hose is the hose. They'll take the connectors you already have, account for it,
right,
put them back on. Making a hose is not.
Yeah, if you can get that off and take it almost to your local parts store,
pretty
get
much.
a hose made. But it's a lot of fun though. We knew we were going to enjoy camping. We didn't realize we were going to get into camping.
Right.
And we've really gotten into it. And we've gone through the phases. We used to hang lights and everything. But when our whole setup, we have patio mats, we have chairs we put out. I have a charcoal grill and a gas grill, by the way, because sometimes your weather's not all that great, but you've already planned to cook out. I've got tables for that, got chairs, but chairs just enough for 4 people because I'm not hosting everybody that stays with me. And our chairs are portable these days, so you can bring them down. I've got outdoor speakers on the camper, so I've got music. That particular unit, I have an iPod I can plug in, play my own music, or tune into a local radio station. And a lot of the campgrounds, they put the local radio stations on your map, right there with your rule sheet.
So you have all
So you
that
have
going
it.
in.
So, I mean, when we get there, we've got, I think I timed it last time at 25 minutes of let's get this stuff out and get it set up before we actually start the relaxing. And yeah, I don't have lights anymore that I hang on the awnings. I do have, this camper's patio lights, as they call them, are stark white LEDs. I think I could land a helicopter.
I'll say you can address an emergency scene.
Right, and I don't want that much bright light if I'm sitting out at night, so I have tiki torches. And I have utility lights that I picked up at the local store that just kind of squeeze on wherever I want them to go.
Yeah.
And that's handy for, it's 9 o'clock and we forgot to cook supper and now I need light. I have one of those little easy up pop-up tent things. I initially bought the first one of those to just hang up in the middle of that so I can have light on the picnic table.
Right.
Because a lot of times we've eaten during the day, but they want to do the s'mores at night. And then
low key my favorite treat.
I like all the individual components, but I do not like it all mushed together and hot.
Oh.
I am weird. I know I'm weird.
The combo.
And here's the sad part. I will eat a moon pie, and it's almost the same exact flavor.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
But I just don't care for...
wash your mouth out with soap after.
Somewhere in my...
that is a terrible take.
I should have washed my mouth out with soap after bagging that camper in.
Well, yes.
But
what a horrible
somewhere
statement.
along the lines of my life, I got tired of roasted marshmallows. And then the first s'more I ever made was good. I'm going to say it. It was good. But it's not something that I go for. When they start with the s'mores, I just get the candy bar.
Right. No, I get it.
And it might be that my dessert while camping is typically a beer.
I could see those two not mixing.
No, they don't. Not all that greatly anyway.
No,
now,
I could see
I've
that.
had a beer that tastes like a s'mores. It was really good.
But crafted to meet the expectation.
Right. I mean,
not just two things.
And it's hilarious because I'll go get one of these craft beers that I've spent a lot of money on, pop it open, they're making s'mores. I'm sitting there drinking on a beer, and the people we're with like, is that your dessert? Yeah, this one tastes like a Hershey bar.
Right.
I mean, and that's just, I like having my adult beverage when I'm camping.
Of course.
I'm not going to get loaded. I mean, I might, but usually I only have 2 or 3. And if I got the craft ones, I usually only have 1. But and everybody's experience is different. But no, I'm not a huge s'mores. No.
Well, and again, to each their own. I just know that is one of my favorites. I mean, one of the reasons I have the fire pit that I put out behind the house when we have them, it's not for warmth.
Well,
it's not for the ambiance. It's like, ooh, s'mores.
That's one of the reasons we have a propane fire pit in the camper.
Sure.
Yes, I mean, well, again, story for another time. I got really nervous about real fires and wind.
Of course, with good reason.
Yeah, next to something that could go up like a piece of paper. So I saved up and got one of these propane fire pits, and it's really great because, hey, y'all want s'mores? Yeah, sure. fire, s'mores. Y'all done? Yeah, click.
No, I'm
And
with you.
Over
You don't have to
with.
let it sit all night.
Because it's not really, we're camping in the summer, so it's not really for warmth. When we're camping in the off seasons, it's just the two of us, so we're not sitting on the patio when it's cold. We're going in and watching a movie. I mean, we have
Right.
recliners for Pete's sakes.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So, and again, it's all in what you want to do. But yeah, if you love a s'mores, it's nice. But yeah, that little light thing, I've actually had people ask me, how'd you light up that whole... It's a little squeezy light. Mm-hmm. It's a service lamp of some type. It's got basically an oversized metal clothespin on it. You just squeeze it up there and kind of drape the drop cord down the thing, people. It's not that difficult. I retrofitted some step lights, like low voltage step lights, with magnets to have on my staircase. Because until we learned the limitations of all these tanks, at night, a lot of times we were trucking it to the bathhouse because we didn't know how quick it was going to fill up.
Right.
So, I mean, that took a little while. So I put this so you could see the steps. And a little rope light. I mean, yeah, we put out, we call it blink, but we put out some blink. I've got to get a new flagpole. I used to put out a flag, the U.S. flag, my daughter's college flag. I have a spotlight to put on that, so it's legal to have it out all night. Yes, I follow the rules.
I mean,
But
I'm not here to judge any of those things. That's the beauty of this. Hearing you talk about it, I can tell you're in your element. Like, I have my element. I'm not opposed to the concept of camping. But just know, if I'm camping and we are going camping, I'm going to need something with a decent internet connection, because that TV is going to be good for movies. But once everybody's gone to bed, hand me a controller. I'm going to need to play.
You know what?
That's my wheelhouse.
A lot of the campgrounds that I go to actually have decent Wi-Fi. You would not want to do that at the lake, because most of those are state and federal parks. They don't really have Wi-Fi.
Right. They're not worried about it.
If you got a hot spot, there you go.
I would probably make that investment.
but-
just for me.
We've been to campgrounds in which the internet connection's sketchy, just because, they're trying their best to put more money into the infrastructure than they are the frills and thrills. We've been to campgrounds in which I can tune into Pandora on an old phone inside my camper,
Right.
and never lose the signal, never stutter, never buffer, never anything. So yeah, you've got them that with the right TV. Some campers do have smart TVs, but you got them with the right TV or with your little Roku box or whatever. You can stream your TV. Now, I take movies with us.
Sure.
When we're camping and we're watching movies, the weather's bad. So if we've seen it 110 times, we don't care. We're really just napping anyway.
Right.
And I sometimes take new movies that I've purchased. I think my favorite one was I got a friend that has put their movies on like an external hard drive.
Yes.
And they plug it into their TV, and then they've got a choice. But they have the type of service where they're capable of downloading this stuff to the drive, blah, blah, blah. We're not pirating anything to my knowledge, but,
If not, it's not yours.
yeah, exactly, because I'm not doing it that way. I'm not, really. I actually, most of the time when I'm camping, I want to be outside in my chair. And I want to listen to music, my music or a local radio station. I'm actually there to watch the sun come up and then go down, because most of the time, my life, I am busy.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I hit the floor running. I don't get up. I get up at 5 o'clock naturally, but those first couple of hours is like my only me time.
Sure.
And that's only on the weekends. If I've got to go to work, I get up, I'm getting ready to go to work.
Right.
But yeah, everybody's like, what do you do when you're camping? I sit on my ass.
No, see, that's for me, that's probably the rub, is like, my wife, it drives her absolutely bonkers, 100% batshit crazy that I am going. When we go on trip Nazi. We are planned, we are making, now, it's all relative to the situation. When we would go to her grandmother's cabin, I'm perfectly content. But there was stuff to do. I could have read a book. I could have gone for a walk. If she wants to nap all day, be my guest, go nap. But don't expect me to just nap with you. That's not my wheelhouse. I got stuff to do. Now, if I'm going, like, we love to go to Disney. I absolutely love Disney, all things about Disney, any park, whatever, sign me up. I'm there. Group trip, go for it. That's fine. If I'm paying to go to those parks, we are there from open to almost close. Depends on where our dinner reservations are, so on and so forth. That's a whole thing. At some point, if we deep dive into that, you're going to learn a lot about life hacks in Disney. But that's a story for another day. I can't just sit. It's not in my MO. Now, I can sit while playing video games.
Well, see,
I'm engaged.
You can do that in a camper, though.
I know.
You don't even have to have the Game Boy. You can plug your...
I can plug the Xbox right into the TV.
We've had Nintendos with us. We've had Xboxes with us.
Right.
We took the Wii one time. Bad idea in a camper. But
yeah,
we took it.
I feel like nobody could sleep.
There was no real room to do
move.
anything. But
Yeah.
and you should. There's campers with outdoor TVs. You should see the people that are like-minded with you, that are playing their video
I'm
games,
sure.
sitting outside. They're having a good time. We've got cornhole.
Of course.
So,
no,
and
I mean, there's stuff
I make
to
it sound
do.
like I get up from the bed and go sit on my booty. There's stuff to do. And I've
Right.
got a camper full of board games, cards, different card games, my cornhole. I've got stuff with me. We have magazines with us. I always take a book just in case. But for the most part, as far as, we're going to X City, what do you want to do? I don't know. What's down there? Leading up to it, we'll do a Google search. Sometimes it's just that restaurant was featured on.
Sure.
And that's all we want to do is go eat at that restaurant. Sometimes it's and we have found some gems.
We never, when we travel, we never eat at a chain. Unless it's a chain we've never been to before, and then we're like, we'll try that once. But most of the time, the Yelp app is my best friend.
I have a rule.
Oh, I love it.
I have a rule: not eating at a chain store that's in my city.
Absolutely.
Chain restaurant, rather. I said
Absolutely.
store. Not eating at a chain restaurant that's in my city. So if there's a chain restaurant that I don't have here, I'm down for it. But I'm known for going to the campground office. So where's someplace locally owned that you eat?
Right.
So that I can find the local
Yes.
stuff. I want to know where the locals eat. I did choose a barbecue restaurant on a day trip one time based on the number of cars in the driveway, and I was not wrong.
No, full parking lots. While frustrating to taking
says
forever
a
to
lot.
eat, it says a lot
Says
for
a
the
lot.
place. One of my favorite restaurants in and around our area is literally in a shell building.
Yeah.
I would never, like, if I were a Michelin star judge, I would never look at that building and go, "That's not a restaurant. That's not no." You walk in, the decor it's dated. It's not, I mean, it's just, I don't want to say it's a hodgepodge, but it kind of is in certain instances because that's what it took to make that chef's dream come to life. And it is some of the best Southern soul food you are going
And
to
see, that
eat.
is
Sign
what
me
I'm
up.
after when I'm out of town.
Yeah, no, I'm here
And then
for it.
sometimes, and I guess y'all figured it out by now, like beer, but sometimes there's a brewery.
Of course.
Or a microbrewery,
Absolutely.
or something like that, a tap house, and it's like, hey, let's just go there. I try not to, and I'm not opposed to Disney theme parks, theme trips.
No, you're fine.
I try not to make that my end goal. I try to make my end goal to just do, or find a way to do it without leaving and going anywhere. We ate at a restaurant that actually is owned by a family that a movie was written about while we were around the lake. Trying not to do a whole lot of free advertising here. I'll have to tell him all the rest of that stuff later
that's-
because he's
I'm gonna
thinking
need-
about it.
I
But we
can't
had a
place
blast in the restaurant. Found out that the distillery, not a brewery, the distillery does tours. We didn't do the tour that day, but we're planning to go back
To do
just
that.
to do the tour.
Absolutely.
Another gym that we found is in the Shenandoah Valley. My daughter lives north of us, so she's in and around the Shenandoah Valley, and we decided to do a meet halfway. We found a way to do a 5-day trip without using but 2 days of vacation.
Beautiful.
And we're like, let's meet halfway. So we go up, we find this campground. It's new, it's no shade. It's how new it is. It's no shade. It's middle of July. A mile from here, some caverns. The ticket to the caverns, and we didn't realize this till we got there, the ticket to the caverns got us into another museum, Parade Floats. Apparently in that area was the designer, creator, and builder of parade floats for the biggies, Macy's Day.
Oh, that's
The
awesome.
inaugural parade.
No kidding.
This guy built these things. He lived in that area. He warehoused them there because a lot of them were used more than once
Sure.
for different parades. And, I mean, some of them had been in like 3, an inaugural parade, a Rose Bowl parade, and a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade.
That's like an East Coast Vegas sign junkyard.
Yes, yeah, no kidding. The ticket to the caverns got us entry to this.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we're looking at it, when they hand us our ticket, that's when we're noticing. We drove past the warehouse, saw the sign, had no clue. We're like, yeah, well, we'll check that out tonight after dinner. We said, hey, we get free admission to it. So we get done with the caverns, which was already phenomenal. No, not all caverns look alike, and I haven't gone to all the caverns in our area that I intend to. I got more I want to go to. They're not all exactly alike. Yeah, they're holes in the ground, but they're not all exactly alike. They're very fascinating to me anyway.
No, I'm with you. I like that.
So we leave there, we go to this other one, and we walk through the door, and it's like, holy cow, I recognize that. Again, read every plaque. I think I spent more time there than I did, which the Caverns was a guided tour. It was about a 40-minute thing. We spent about an hour and a half in that other museum just reading plaques and walking around these things. You think they're phenomenal on TV. Whew. Go look it up. Again, no real true free advertising here, but it's in the Shenandoah Valley.
I bet it's the only one up there.
Probably, and if that particular area of tourism calls, you can reach Josh at... Actually, I don't know. I know how to reach him, but I've got different apps for that. Wow, we've been talking for forever, dude. And all
I told you I
trips.
closed my OnlyFans. That's not the way you can get in touch with me.
No, I wasn't going to give out your OnlyFans.
It's now dead, so...
I was about to... I almost went straight to the phone. I'm like, nope, can't do that.
I just Googled that museum, by the way. It's... Oh... They're currently closed.
Yeah, it's a seasonal thing.
Okay, I didn't realize it was seasonal.
It's a seasonal thing.
I didn't want to break your heart with that.
When the caverns close, this closes. A lot of times that stuff closes for a season because, I mean, it's 20 to 30 degrees cooler in the caverns.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Plus you've got a lot of running water this time of the... But it's a phenomenal place. I'll show you some pictures sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Actually, go on my Facebook. You'll find some pictures. I think I posted some. I don't. I'm one of those that doesn't post like every picture of every trip that I go to. I post a few, just
No, you fill your time with classic cars.
Yes, I really do. He's not wrong. I really do.
You guys have a good one.
At way over an hour, we're going to come off vacations and I don't know, go home.
I said we have to go back to work, but that's nah. We'll just do this.
Watch your mouth. I'm on call today.